Phil Egan's with us, having some trouble with old Phil, so we're getting young Phil. Phil, how are you?
Younger Phil.
Younger Phil.
Yeah, all good, yeah.
Adrian Rabiot is the news this morning. He's the latest in a long line of players to have been linked with Manchester United. There seems to be a bit more around this one. David Ornstein of The Athletic is reporting that they're trying to close out this deal. He's been left out of the club team for a pre-season tour. He made a short appearance yesterday, the day before, against Atletico. Got a kick in the head for his troubles, but seems to be on the way out. Is he what Manchester United need?
He'd be an upgrade on what's there. So I think that's probably the thinking behind it. But he is probably not the player that's going to transform the United midfield. I think he'd be a complementary midfielder to a better midfielder. But they don't have that at the moment because for some bizarre reason they started the season with McTominay and Fred. Fred was taken off first, but McTominay was awful.
Should have been sent off, shouldn't he?
He could have been sent off, and he was just clumsy, and he just has games like that, and he doesn't seem to have much football intelligence when you watch him. Like, he's an incredible athlete, he's quick, he's obviously quite big, and he actually isn't the worst finisher, but yeah, there was just a real lack of a game plan. I think that's what everyone was tuning in to see yesterday, was how will United approach this. But after a few minutes and Brighton kind of settled into it, it was a comfortable enough afternoon for Brighton, and probably something in the comments from Ten Hag about the players lacking self-belief, that they don't have confidence, they're brittle. As soon as they went behind, you kind of felt like, you know, they rallied a bit in the second half, but when they were 2-0 down, did anyone think that United were going to come back and win that game? I certainly did, and I thought maybe they might get a draw just because of the nature of the Old Trafford factor, and like, it is a thing. Like, Brighton hadn't won at Old Trafford. Brighton have played well at Old Trafford in recent seasons and have come away empty-handed, but
everybody's getting their first win at Old Trafford in 20, 30, 40 years over the last 2 seasons. That's what's happening now.
Yeah,
that like, anything that they had. So even last year, Ronaldo would score 2 late goals against bad teams, and they would win games that they should have lost. But that's, like, he's starting at a very low base, and I actually think signing somebody like Rabiot, you know, he's really replacing Jesse Lingard in the squad, or Juan Mata in the squad. And if you can get more from this player than those two, then your squad is improving. This is not going to be sign Alisson and sign Virgil van Dijk and become suddenly competitors again, because that team already had loads of great players in it. Like, Man United do not have any great players at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Rabiot obviously is going to take the place of Fred or McTominay, but
you would hope in
terms of they need depth in their squad as well, because also these underperforming players need a kick up the backside. They need to know that if you play as bad as that again, like, you won't be playing. And unfortunately, for the last few years, players at United have played badly and they start the next week, and you know, you get comfortable and you just think that, you know, all I'd have to do is just maybe throw out an apology on social media, and, you know, that'll keep things sweet for a while, and then we'll go again. But also, like, the link of the Arnautovic thing, that was just, I mean, if United fans were feeling bad after watching the performance yesterday, then to see that, like, what good would Marco Arnautovic bring
to
Manchester United?
If you want to add Marco Arnautovic to the squad and you've signed 5 other players, and you do it in the very early days, the dog days of there being no football, that's fine. But if that's the first thing that happens in the immediate aftermath, after a crushing home defeat on the opening day of the season, it looks like you're really badly run. Even if they got the Rabiot thing out at full time yesterday, we're 24 hours away from this, that would have helped with we understand there are issues, we see what's going on, but you talked there about they need depth. Spurs arrived, or Conte arrived and said we need depth, and they've got depth in 2 transfer windows. Now, again, a much better squad in that they have genuine world-class players in that squad, and so therefore they're working with better material. I don't know, is Jadon Sancho going to make it? I don't know. The assumption was that a new manager will come in and know what to do with him, and he'll suddenly look really good.
I think if things start going well under Ten Hag, Sancho will be part of that, because it's very hard to, like, you can see where Sancho fits into a system, but if the system hasn't worked yet, and look, it's going to take time, but unfortunately there is still too many players at United. And like Arnautovic, what I mean there is, to become a really good club again, they need to have a better culture. Their dressing room culture stinks, and Arnautovic is not somebody you throw into that dressing room. And part of me would say the same about Rabiot, who wouldn't be a very disciplined player the way that we're told Eric Ten Hag is all about discipline. Rabiot, there's a talent there, but you want players that will dig in when the going gets tough. I'm just not sure about that. I think when things are going well, Rabiot will be grand, but I said there is a serious problem with the culture in that dressing room.
It feels like Manchester United are like addicted to the drug of what an immediate signing can give you. You know, like a 27-year-old Rabiot who has proven he can do really good things at times, not very consistently, but he has proven he can do really good things. It feels like United are just addicted to that sort of signing, as opposed to the methodical planning that comes with the turnaround of a club, which is what United need, where it's years and years of work, of signing players of the right age profile, so that when they become the age of Adrian Rabiot, are playing alongside another bunch of 25 to 30 year olds who are willing to win for the team and ready to win for the team. Like, this is just another series of plasters that Manchester United are hoping to administer. Yeah,
you used the word planning. There is no planning. That's the problem. Or if there is, it's all short term. You need people that understand modern football and what you need from players. Like, talent doesn't cut it anymore. Like, you need to have a certain attitude as well, and like a character to be able to make it at the very top. And
so what are your concerns about Rabiot specifically?
Well, first of all, I think he's quite limited in, technically he's a decent enough player, but from whenever I watch him, he's one of these players that takes the safe option when he's on the ball. And I remember the first time I saw him play, he was a teenager at PSG, and that was a PSG team like who were dominating the French league. This was a team with Zlatan. This was a team with Cavani. Obviously, Thiago Silva was there. Verratti was in midfield. And saw him in the flesh play, and, sideways passes, ball back. Now, that's fine because he had better players around him. But is he going to be a transformative player? I don't think so. But the thing is, he's still going to be an upgrade on Fred and McTominay.
Yeah, and is that enough?
But that's not really a great starting point for a game into the season, and you're signing a guy you think, well, you know what, he won't be as bad as the other two.
Well, maybe he's the player who makes a lot more sense when they get somebody else beside him.
Yeah,
and so that's the planning here, is that actually they're planning for next transfer window when they get whoever that central midfielder is going to be, and suddenly you've replaced Fred and McTominay with Frankie de Jong and Verratti, and everyone's like, Verratti, obviously, sorry, a slip of the tongue, Rabiot.
Yeah. United wish they had Verratti.
There you go. But at least that is like, not just, this guy's not going to be the silver bullet, but him plus somebody else is going to be a midfield that gives us flexibility and tactical, like, I don't...
They still, like...
Could they play Christian Eriksen there to just get them through this period where at least somebody who knows and wants the ball is on the ball?
Yeah, well, I mean, there was that incident in the first half where Fred got the ball. He came looking for it on top of his centre halves, and he got dispossessed, and Trossard had a chance but just wasn't able to square it. But yeah, when you see players like Fred and McTominay trying to get on the ball, it doesn't really instill confidence, and they just don't look very comfortable. Eriksen obviously is a player that from deep could do things, but you also need somebody that can get the ball back for you, and that's not really Eriksen's game. You need somebody that's like, the first instinct is to go hunting for the ball, but can actually do it properly. I don't mean throwing yourself into tackles and full-blooded tackles and everyone says, oh, that's great commitment. McTominay did that yesterday, but I wouldn't classify anything he did as positive yesterday.
Do you know what? If Manchester United are looking for quick fixes, Gini Wijnaldum's name was being chanted around the Stadio Olimpico last night. It was an amazing unveiling.
Yeah.
Getting him on loan from Paris Saint-Germain, I think, is a really good piece of business. That would have been exactly what you're talking about. There's the sort of midfielder who can deliver magic on the ball, but most importantly, actually win possession back and do the dirty work in midfield. It would have been perfect for this Manchester United midfield.
Never going to United.
No, he never would have, I guess.
For money.
Nah.
But the thing is, from PSG to United would have been possible. Obviously, post Liverpool, they were never
I
done
don't
any
know.
business with United.
I mean, ask Michael Owen about that. You know,
but yeah.
when he's in town.
Yeah. Talk about Liverpool briefly. Daniel Harris made the point earlier on that, like, if you're trying to win the league, you look at the number of points that Man City get, and dropping points on the opening day of the season, it's not a complete disaster, but it's a little bit of a disaster because already you're chasing them. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I know it's stupid, it's completely overreacting, but
This is what City have done.
look at their team. Look at City's team. Where are they going to drop points against who?
Yeah.
So maybe like West Ham might have a chance of all the teams that are out there. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I think West Ham were short at the back. I think.
literally and metaphorically. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I get you what you mean. Like, with the kind of feeling with Liverpool would be they'd hit the ground running. They were awful on Saturday, but the positive I would take from it would be that they still got something from the game. Like, they weren't good. I thought it was interesting. He went with the same 10 outfield players that started in the Community Shield. Obviously, then Alisson comes in for Adrian, and that's just makes the team stronger. But Firmino wasn't good. Firmino, obviously, we know, wants to come deep for the ball, but it just meant that the two Fulham centre halves had an easy ride. Then as soon as Núñez came on, like it was like Núñez obviously scores, he sets one up, he has a few chances, still looked a bit nervy at times, but at least when he came on, he was making runs. The two Fulham centre halves were occupied, and all of a sudden, Mo Salah had a load of space, and you would imagine that now Núñez starts the next game and Liverpool will be a lot more threatening in attack. The disappointing performance, I mentioned Firmino, there was plenty of them. Joe Matip, who in the kick-off on Friday, we were talking about how good he is at bringing the ball out, but he just kept giving the ball away. That's where the Mitrovic penalty came from. He gave the ball away. But Luis Diaz had Tete on a yellow card early, and they just didn't get the ball to him enough. So Diaz, as good as he is, brilliant dribbler, because you've lost Mane's goals from that position, there's a lot of pressure on him to be scoring goals. So it's look, it's still very early days. I thought Klopp there was no obviously the thing that was picked out of his interview was about the pitch, but actually if you look at the whole interview, he put his hands up and said we just weren't good enough. And was that a case of, were they undercooked? I mean, they looked fairly sharp against Manchester City in the Community Shield. We don't know what kind of work they did in between that, but we know that they were trying to play a behind closed doors game against Villa yesterday. That game didn't go ahead, but Klopp obviously feels that his players need more work.
For the first time.
By the way, Fulham were good as well.
I was just going to say that you probably saw the stats for the first time since joining Liverpool. Virgil van Dijk was dribbled past by an opponent and conceded a penalty in the same game, and Alexander Mitrovic was the man to do both of those things.
Well, he scored 43 goals last season, and he must get sick of people saying, yeah, can you do it in the Premier League? 11 is his most in the Premier League.
Nobody's saying that, it's a fact. Like, he
but
has
the goal,
in the Premier League.
the first goal, that is the ball that he needs in. I know people are giving out about Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I'd say as soon as he tried to jump, he was pinned down by Mitrovic. He's physically an absolute beast when it comes to that kind of ball that was in.
Ever since he lobbed Mark Travers, his career has just been on the upward trajectory.
He's only 27.
Yeah.
You know, like this is, and he's very, very experienced. So you wouldn't be surprised if he ripped it up this year and is playing Champions League football next season for somebody.
Yeah, like Silva's a good manager. Maybe he just found a way of getting the best out of him and realises that he's the key to them surviving.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't play really in the last campaign.
Yeah.
In the last Premier League campaign, he wasn't. Scott Parker couldn't really find a system to suit him, but obviously Marco Silva did that last season. 43 goals is a phenomenal return, and people say, yeah, it's only the second tier, but
Haaland versus Mitrovic for the Golden Boot.
For the Golden Boot, yeah. It'll be interesting to see, but Salah will be up there. Obviously, Kane didn't. We know Kane doesn't like playing
September?
No, August is.
Is
now he actually had a chance. It was a great save from Gavin Bazunu, who looks like he's going to have a very busy season.
Yeah.
But
any other takeaways from the Liverpool game? Like the midfield seemed to be.
Yeah, well, Thiago going off injured is not great because he gave the ball away a few times from trying long passes, but he's still by far the best player Liverpool have in terms of keeping possession. Where actually, do you know who made an impact off the bench was James Milner, and that's not meant to be the case. As in, look, it's great that he can do that, but you're kind of thinking that Liverpool should have stronger options in midfield. I felt before the start of the season they were light in midfield, and then when Thiago went off injured, it's not great, and you just wonder, will it force a rethink into maybe a formation change where he plays just two in there and plays one behind Darwin Núñez and Salah and Luis Diaz on the wings. Maybe it's whether it's a Carvalho or a Firmino in behind the striker, and then you can just have two City midfielders with Henderson and Fabinho. But
no change though in terms of transfers. You think they're done for this window?
It sounds like it. And the only thing, like, we would have thought maybe there'd be more outgoings, but the Kanate injury, Klopp said in his press conference that would affect players' outgoings. So that would suggest that somebody like Nat Phillips doesn't get loaned out if the Kanate injury goes on for a few months.
All right. Phil, good stuff. Thanks a million for stepping in. It's 9:36 this morning. OTB AM brought to you live each morning by Gillette Labs for an effortless finish to your day. We're back tomorrow from 7:30 with Deal or No Deal, Man City reaction with Sam Lee, and much more besides. Right now we're going to leave you with Brian Kerr after Brighton's win over Man United yesterday. Enjoy. See you tomorrow.